Imagine losing the biggest game your country has ever played, on the world's biggest stage with billions of people watching, and someone still hands you a check for $32 million. Well, that's the World Cup. Come second, and you're still one of the highest paid sporting teams on the entire planet that year. A country with no real football infrastructure, no fancy stadium, maybe not even a professional domestic league, can walk away from a single tournament with more money than its government spends on sport in a decade. The FIFA World Cup isn't just the most watched event on earth, it's one of the biggest cash distribution machine in the entire history of sport. So today we're breaking down every dollar, where it comes from, who actually gets it, and why the numbers are bigger than almost anyone realizes. The machine behind the money. Before we get to the prize money, we need to talk about the FIFA itself, because FIFA isn't really a football organization anymore. It's a financial empire. Across the 4-year cycle around the 2022 Qatar World Cup, FIFA pulled in over $11 billion in revenue. Most of that came from the television rights. Broadcasters worldwide paid roughly around $4.5 billion just for the right to air the matches. Add global sponsors like car makers, soft drink giants, and credit card companies paying hundreds of millions to slap their logo on the world's biggest event, then stack on ticket sales, hospitality, licensing, and merchandise, and you get a staggering $7.5 billion in commercial deals for that cycle alone. Here's the part that surprises people. Prize money. The cash that actually goes to the teams is only a sliver of that. FIFA set aside $500 million for 2022. That sounds enormous until you remember it's coming out of an $11 billion pie. FIFA keeps the majority by a wide range. So, where does that $500 million actually go? It starts before a single ball is even kicked. Chapter 1. Getting paid before you play. Most people assume World Cup money starts flowing once the tournament kicks off. It doesn't. FIFA starts playing the teams the moment they qualify. Every nation that made it to Qatar received a preparation grant of $1.5 million, simply for qualifying, before a single whistle blew. On top of that, FIFA covers travel and accommodation because flying a 26-man squad plus coaches, medics, and a federation staff across the world isn't cheap. And for a smaller nation, it can be genuinely crippling without help. Think about Senegal, Ecuador, or Wales, who qualified for their first World Cup in 64 years. That early money doesn't just fund their tournament trip. It trickles into academies, grassroots programs, and coaching education back home. Across all 32 qualified nations in 2022, these grants cost FIFA tens of millions of dollars. Some critics say it's still not enough. Others point out that without it, several federations wouldn't be able to compete at all. But the serious money starts once the group stage begins. Chapter 2. The group stage. Every qualified team is guaranteed $9 million just for showing up. That number doesn't move, whether you win, lose, or draw in your group games. Every team eliminated in the group stage takes home exactly the same amount. For giants like France or Brazil, $9 million barely registers. But for smaller footballing nations, it can completely reshape a federation's finances. So, what's the actual incentive to win your group if the money is identical either way? Simple, survival. Because the gap between going home after 3 games and reaching the round of 16 is worth millions. That's where the real stakes begin. Chapter 3. A new round, the round of 32. Starting with the 2026 tournament hosted across US, Canada, and Mexico, the World Cup expands from 32 teams to 48. That means an entirely new financial stage, the round of 32. FIFA hasn't confirmed the exact payout structure yet, but with a total prize pool of $1 billion for 2026, early round payouts are expected to be well above 2022 levels. 16 more nations now get grants, group stage money, and a shot at the knockouts. Critics say the expansion dilutes the tournament for commercial reasons. FIFA calls it its global football development. Realistically, both are true. More teams means more matches, more TV windows, more sponsors, and more tickets. For FIFA, this wasn't just a football decision, it was a business one. Chapter 4 Round of 16. Back to 2022. You've survived the group stage, won a knockout match, and you're in the round of 16. That single win just added $4 million to your federation's earnings. Round of 16 teams earned $13 million compared to $9 million for group stage exits. Put that in perspective, the average annual budget for a small national federation sits somewhere between $5 and $15 million. Salaries, facilities, youth development, everything included. One knockout win at the World Cup can fund an entire federation's yearly operations. That's why coaches obsess over momentum in these tournaments. Every win isn't just glory, it's a financial milestone for a country's football future. Chapter 5 The Quarterfinals. Quarterfinalists in 2022 earned $25 million, $12 million more than the teams knocked out in the round of 16 for one extra win. Morocco is the clearest example of what that means. They became the first African nation to ever reach a World Cup semi-final, and the run wasn't just historic on the pitch, it was transformational financially. Tens of millions flowed into the Royal Moroccan Football Federation, money that doesn't just sit in an account but funds academies, coaching, and infrastructure for the next decade. One great tournament run can shape a nation's football for years. Chapter 6 Fourth and the Third Place. You've just lost your semifinals in front of hundreds of millions of people watching worldwide, and now you have to play a third place match almost nobody wants to be in. And yet, finishing fourth still earns $25 million, the exact same as the quarterfinalist. In 2022, third place earned the same $25 million as the fourth. No financial difference at all between them, which partly explains why the third place game often feels like a formality. When the reward is identical, the motivation has to come from the pride, not the pay slip. Well, that is set to change in 2026. With a $1 billion prize pool, FIFA is expected to clearly separate third from the fourth, giving that once meaningless match some actual financial stakes. Chapter 8 The Runner-Up. Picture being the captain who just lost the biggest match in your country's history. 110 minutes, a penalty shootout, your teammates kick hitting the crossbar, and then someone tells you your federation just earned $32 million. That was the reward for finishing runner-up in 2022. $32 million is more than what most English lower league clubs make in an entire season. More in some cases than the annual GDP growth of a small nation. It's a good reminder that even losing the biggest game on earth still leaves you richer than almost any other sporting event could. Chapter 9 The Champions. So, what about the winners? How much do they get? Well, Argentina in 2022 took home $42 million. That number has climbed steadily. Brazil won $9 million in 1994. France earned $35 million in 1998. Spain got $30 million in 2010. France again $38 million in 2018. Then $42 million in 2022, growing right alongside FIFA's own revenue. But the prize money is really just the opening act. When Argentina lifted the trophy, the commercial value of Argentine football exploded almost overnight. New sponsorship deals, a surge in kit sales, Messi's brand power amplified even further, a tourism bump, and the federation reportedly selling commercial rights at dramatically high prices afterwards. The $42 million was just the starting gun. The long-term value of being the World Cup champion is nearly impossible to put a number on. Chapter 10 The Total Prize Pool. Zooming out, the total prize pool has grown fast. $420 million in South Africa 2010, $576 million in Brazil 2014, $400 million in Russia 2018, actually a dip after FIFA restructured the model, $500 million in Qatar 2022, and now $1 billion for 2026, literally double the last tournament. Three things are driving that jump. A bigger 48-team field means more money has to be distributed. FIFA's commercial revenue keeps climbing, with 2026 TV deals reportedly dwarfing 2022's. And strategically, bigger prizes attract more sponsors who want to be associated with an event that treats its players well. Bigger prizes make bigger headlines pull bigger audiences, and bigger audiences are worth more to broadcasters. So, it fits itself. Now, let's talk about who actually gets the money. This is a question people rarely ask. FIFA doesn't pay players directly, it pays the national federation. What happens after that is entirely up to that federation's arrangement with its players. Most federations negotiate bonus structures ahead of the tournament, and the numbers vary widely. Germany reportedly offered around €400,000 per player for winning the title in 2022. France offered something similar. Some Gulf nations reportedly offered up to $500,000 per player just for reaching the finals. Meanwhile, some smaller federations had no formal bonus at all. Players competed for pride, with travel covered and little else guaranteed. Coaches usually have performance bonuses built quietly into their contracts. Taxes get complicated too. Prize money typically lands with the federation, often a non-profit body with its own tax status, and whether individual players get taxed depends on their home country's laws. For a player like Kylian Mbappe, already earning tens of millions a year at his club, a World Cup bonus barely registers. But for a player from a smaller footballing nation, $50,000 or $100,000 can genuinely change their life. Even clubs get a cut. When a club releases a player for international duty, they don't earn prize money directly. But FIFA runs a club protection program that compensates clubs for releasing players based on how many they sent and how far those players went. FIFA set aside around $209 million for that fund in 2022, and clubs like Real Madrid, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Bayern Munich all received sizable payouts from it. Now, how does it compare? Against other major sporting events, the World Cup still stands apart. The UEFA Champions League distributes roughly €2 billion, but spreads across far more teams and an entire season. The World Cup hands out $500 million in about just 5 weeks, which per match is extraordinary value for the teams involved. Super Bowl winners each get individual bonuses around $165,000, losers about half of that, a completely different model built around the franchise, not the tournament. The Olympics, until recently, offered almost no prize money at all. World Athletics only introduced $50,000 gold medal bonuses a few years ago. Next to that, FIFA's numbers look absolutely absurd. And the host nations also pay a price too. Qatar repeatedly spent over $200 billion on infrastructure for 2022, against roughly $7 billion in direct economic activity generated by the tournament. Whether the trade was worth it or not, it is something that the economists will argue about for years. So, is the World Cup worth it? For FIFA, absolutely. $11 billion in revenue against $500 million in prize money is one of the best returns in the modern sport. For the champion, the $42 million is just the beginning. The real payoff is brand growth, sponsorship, and national inspiration worth hundreds of millions more. For smaller nations, one good tournament run can fund years of youth development and grassroots football. And for every team, even those knocked out in the group stage, $9 million guaranteed means nobody goes home completely empty-handed. With 2026 tournament bringing a $1 billion prize pool and 48 teams, more nations than ever are able to find out what that kind of money can do. The World Cup has always been sold as football's biggest celebration, but underneath the goals and the national anthems, it's also one of the largest wealth distribution events in modern sport, where every kick of a ball at the right time can be worth millions. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye!